Well, we're talking about robots again. Can you believe it? We're talking about robotic indoor farming, and we meet a couple of brothers, the Bertram brothers. David, what inspires you about their story?
I think what inspires me about their story is the fact that their invention comes from them wanting to address a specific ill in the world. You know,
Which is what?
Which is hunger, not just poverty, but malnourishment. You know, they saw the numbers for how many people are malnourished each year worldwide. And from that, they were inspired to make something that could help solve that problem, or just even draw attention to that problem so that more people would get involved in that fight against starvation.
That's right, and they have an indoor vertical farm. That's how they're fighting against starvation. And they're able to grow things, I believe, at a faster rate than just an ordinary farm, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about it. I think what makes their farm different to me is their use of aeroponics.
That's a big word.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that
What
word
is it?
until, well, so we've had articles in advance about hydroponics before, right? Which is using water instead of soil to grow the plants. But here we have aeroponics. Aero is a word that means air. So
Imagine that.
Imagine that, right? So they're using this like nutrient-rich mist, as they call it, that's flowing through this vertical farm, and then that's feeding the roots, and the plants are growing.
So there's no soil, right?
There's no soil,
So they can, grow things differently and at a faster pace, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Well, do you think this represents the future of farming?
No, I think that it represents a way that we can kind of deal with problems like maybe if you need to, maybe if some particular area that, like a city, for example, in order to keep them from having to ship food in from the country, maybe they could supplement their produce with like buildings that have these large, kind of hydroponic or aeroponic farms inside, so that cities could become more self-sufficient and the need to ship food in from the country would be reduced. But I think that we're always going to need dirt, generally speaking.
Always going to need dirt. That's a good, good quote from David Morton. David, would you ever want to grow your own food? Growing up, my parents sometimes would plant tomatoes or squash and things like that, and it's kind of done as a hobby. Would you ever be interested in that? Do you think it's a good idea for more people to do that?
I think so. I think that gardening is actually really great for your mind and just your emotions. I think that if I had, when I'm older or something, maybe if I have my own place with a bit more room, a bit more space than I have now, I think it would be great to have a little garden or something. I have a plant now that sometimes when I'm stressed out, I just go out onto my tiny little laundry balcony and I just look at the plant and I feel better.
Absolutely. There you have it. If you're feeling stressed, get a plant and see if that helps to relieve the stress. That is one thing, and plants do bring you joy. They can, right? And so be sure to check that out and check out our article as well. Thank you for joining us for another segment of Insights, and thank you, David, for joining us as well. We'll see you next time.
See you later.